has negotiated with the Baron. I feared an alliance. But today, my liege refused all aid to the Harkonnen. Do you understand? The Harkonnen are pulling back into the funeral plain, running like dogs. Strike now, quickly, while you have the opportunity to annihilate them. Because I would not die, 1,000 men go to their deaths.
My lady, you said yourself the loyal Atreides would gladly die for their duke. We're just giving them the opportunity.
We?
Well, thanks to your theatrics, my Sadukar will surprise the Atreides in force and generously give them a warrior's funeral in the funeral plain.
Your generosity, my lord, frightens me.
As well it should.
Hello and welcome to Dune 2000, and this will be Atreides Mission 7. Despite the big reveal in the cutscene, I sort of gathered before the reveal that there was something not quite right. There was something about her facial expression, something about her voice, the tone of her voice, that indicated she was under duress. But in this mission, we get access to the two top-tier units of Atreides, the Sonic Tank, which is again an anti-light unit, and of course the Ornithopter, which you can call in airstrikes with. Basically like Command and Conquer, where you build out the structure and then it has a timer that runs, and once that timer is ready, you can deploy an airstrike. And of course, the rocket turret, the upgraded defensive turret, which fires rockets. It says it requires power, but the normal turret also requires power, so this one actually just requires more power. But let's get started with this fun mission. Start out doing the usual, just getting units off the way so we can build concrete and then start building up the foundation of the base. The reasons that will become rather apparent relatively shortly. There was a few times I was about to punch out of this mission, to be honest. As is commonplace for these missions, the enemy has an awful lot of units, and they come and say hi relatively early on in the mission before you have any chance to build up anything. And if you don't build up defensive structures very quickly, you have very little chance to defend yourself, of course, because your fastest unit to produce will be infantry, and as has been showcased many times so far, they can be run over by vehicles, meaning that, of course, as soon as a heavy vehicle is involved, they become more or less useless. But we are not dealing with that issue just yet. We still have some time to build up a minimum of defenses, and it is going to be a bare minimum. Gun turrets, I found they have a distinct weakness against normal men with machine guns. They take forever to kill them, and apparently a machine gun infantry unit can destroy a turret before the turret destroys or kills him. Good fun. It happened a lot in this mission anyway. But here comes the fun. Getting a warning that the harvester is under attack. And of course the base is under attack. The base is just under attack by infantry, we're not too worried about that. But what is further off the screen is going to be a bit more nasty. As you can see, the men are happily running around between my turrets and don't really care about what's happening. Sorry, the harvester warning comes a bit later, but as you can see, this is just a minor attack, nothing we can't handle. Just send our lone tank out to run over the infantry, and no, okay, well, So much for that tank. But we have some turrets which will shoot. Never mind that. Oh, okay. Now we have rocket tanks coming in. Missile tanks, whatever they're called. But we got on. We trust our defenses will hold our massive force of a handful of infantry and a single gun turret. Will surely hold this attack. I'm not saying that I couldn't have done things better. If my mouse would be more responsive. Don't blame the tools, but I have certain issues with getting it to register single left clicks, unfortunately. And of course the sensitivity in this game seems to be quite high. I've noticed the mouse cursor seems to be moving all the time, like I'm having the shakes or something, but whatever. We get to meet the Harkonnen special unit, which of course is the Devastator tank. And as you can probably see from its the way it looks and the way it shoots, that it was definitely the inspiration for the Mammoth tank in Command & Conquer. And two of those can do an awful lot of damage, especially when you have meager defenses trying to defend against them. But you can always use your harvester as a tempting target, and if I could place that blasted gun turret, it's not going to last long. This means I'm going to be looking forward to playing this stage with the Harkonnen. Build a solid handful or 3 of Devastator tanks and then go out and blow up the enemy. They are extremely powerful, and they do an awful lot of damage, and of course because they are doing effectively AoE damage with their shots, they are effective against everything. I'm fairly sure in this game we'll know before we reach that stage with the Harkonnen, whatever. I'm fairly sure they've had the self-destruct option removed. In Dune 2 you could self-destruct. Devastator tanks would effectively use them as a bomb, driving into the enemy base and say good night. But for some bizarre reason we managed to deflect this attack, and well, wasn't enough. No, now we have infantry messing with our harvesters.
Let's go. Our base is under attack. Let's go.
The Empire is using his, or the Emperor I should say, is using his own units in this mission, and I'm fairly sure I've managed to cut out every single bit indicating
Commander.
the unit's presence in the game, or in this mission at least.
Our base is under
But you know, it's no big loss. The first
under attack.
45 minutes, hour of this mission was basically one huge defensive battle that I was constantly losing. Because of course, I mean, you need to build up your base, you need to build up units, you need to build up structures, and you can't do it all at the same time. Especially when you forget about producing when you are controlling units. I will never be a good StarCraft player. I have never intended to become one, so I'm perfectly fine with that.
Unit ready. Building.
Another
Yes, sir.
attack deflected, and
For the Duke.
we're not done yet. More fun.
Repairing.
Oh,
Unit repaired.
in the shape of Devastator tanks again. There's a certain trend. I was thinking that if I prepared my units, they would fire back while they are being repaired, but
Repairing.
they didn't seem overly keen on the idea, and this is where you see the effect of Devastator's weapons. They are effectively shooting at 2 tanks, but of course because of the AoE damage, you will also take out the repair pad.
Harvester under attack. Unit lost.
Yeah,
Building lost.
good fun. But as per usual, they like to go for harvesters, so I would happily take advantage of that, because of course the harvester from the initial refinery will be replaced indefinitely.
Unit lost.
But always make sure that you have at least one harvester active. But
Unit ready. Training.
another attack being deflected. Eventually, I have no defensive forces outside of one infantry
ready.
unit.
Training.
But of course, because the Devastator tank is so sweet,
Building.
has to go for my harvester, it keeps getting itself into range
Unit
of the
ready.
gun turrets, which of course is a bit of a benefit.
Under attack.
So,
Yes, sir.
surely this is no, this isn't it. I expanded. You more or less have to expand up there, and of course I didn't consider the fact that all the units were coming down through this path. I too was naive enough to believe they came down by the sandy route. But I suddenly have all the units that have been attacking my main base suddenly going through my completely undefended expansion base. And I'm basically feeding them a building there by building another
Harvester under attack.
called advanced
Unit lost.
production center thing,
Unit
because
lost.
Standing by.
we've been having issues with double Devastator tanks coming in, and lo and behold,
Under attack.
you get to see a pair in this
Complete.
little clip as well.
Harvester under attack. Building lost.
Doing everything I can to build up turrets as quickly as possible,
Unit lost.
but it's not going particularly well.
Lost. Harvester under attack.
Again, I'm not saying I could not play better,
Our
of course I could,
base is
but
under attack.
instead of restarting the mission again and again and again and again and again, I decided to just, you know what,
Harvester under attack.
accept the blows and see if I could
Building.
turn it into a win
Unit lost.
eventually, even though it would take some time.
Yes, Commander.
Unit lost.
Yes, Commander.
Our base is
Oh.
under attack.
Normal tanks against Devastator tanks. Nope, not working very effectively.
Complete.
This is where I miss the old Siege tank, because
Unit lost.
it had about 50% more health than the normal tank and 50% more damage. It couldn't necessarily stand up to Devastator, but
Under attack.
definitely would live a bit longer.
Building lost.
But yeah. Another refinery down. Another turret's going to go down.
Our base is
That
under
is unavoidable. But thankfully the Devastator is kind enough to move into range of the
Building lost.
other rocket turret. I think they're called rocket turrets, it's not missile turrets.
Unit
But
lost.
eventually we get that deflected as well, thankfully.
Building. Unit lost.
But finally we stabilize and start to
Construction complete.
go on the defensive, actually. There is a weakness in the base, I mean, parts of the base, I should say, in the top left corner, where there's an entry point for infantry. And I decided, you know what, let's go and do some engineering fun,
Construction complete.
partially for scouting, but also to do something remotely disruptive. So
Primary
I
building
built
selected.
a barracks, the expansion base, made it the primary structure, and start spitting out some engineers.
Unit ready. Training.
Commander.
Unit ready.
Just a few will do.
Unit ready.
Over and out.
And sending them in to say hi. You can see when the cursor marker, I think I've
Unit
mentioned it
ready.
before, but when the cursor marker turns grey, that means that infantry units can pass, but vehicles can't. Of course, this is not going to
Yes, sir.
be allowed to happen unannounced, so
Yes, sir.
they will be detected quite quickly.
Yes, sir.
I tried
Every
to
building
capture
captured.
more, but
Our base is under attack.
wasn't able to, and instead of trying to
Unit
defend the
lost.
structure, just selling it
Unit
for some
ready.
quick cash,
Unit lost.
and then use the scouting given by having the building to call in an airstrike. That is what you gain
Construction
from
complete.
the high-tech center, and as you can see, they are it is reloading, recharging, whatever. It basically sends out 3 ornithopters, which will drop 500-pound bombs on an area, and of course, because they are active units in the game, they are vulnerable to rocket turrets and missile tanks. So, another one incoming. Hoping to clear out some units.
T-1.
There's a primary concern. One of them gets
Unit
taken out,
lost.
so we'll reduce to 2 and then 1. The shame. Oh well, surely my infantry group here can do some damage, can't they?
Yes, sir.
But lo and behold, my timing is excellent. The computer decides to attack me at the same time, so
Atreides out.
whatever units were supposed to go down to the main base are now suddenly fighting my little infantry group. And of course the AI being the AI, they can't work out anything, so it's trying to go the long way around. Just not helping, and
For the Duke. Atreides out.
Unit lost.
For the
we
Duke.
will slowly but surely lose these units as well, but I do manage to do some damage actually. This little group will manage to take out the heavily damaged starboard, which of course is always a plus.
Unit lost.
See, the Devastator doesn't really need to run over into units, it will just shoot twice and they're all gone. But another shot at it. This is definitely an area where I'll probably spend too much time. I should probably just build up forces and gone in trying to smack them, but well, you're given something like an airstrike, you want to make use of it, of
Unit
course. So,
lost.
anyway, time to send out
Minus
group to do some damage. The usual rules apply when you get to the later missions. You want to get rid of the enemy units as
-3.
much as you can, and then take it from there. If you can do some base damage at the same time, that's cool, but if you can't, that has to be cool as well. It is the extreme amounts of units that you have to deal with,
T-2.
and of course fighting the constant
Yes, Commander.
completely stupid pathfinding, or I should say lack of pathfinding.
T-1.
Orders confirmed. Let's go. Let's go. Yes, Commander. Orders confirmed.
It's just like
Yes, Commander.
caretaking a group of toddlers.
Yes, Commander.
Have to
Yes,
constantly
Commander.
direct them, constantly
Commander.
guide them, constantly
Let's go.
handhold them. It becomes a bit annoying. As you can see, this tank is happily trying to go the long way around. He's on a sightseeing journey,
Let's go.
but
Yes,
I want to
Commander.
push in. We got a
Unit
rocket turret,
lost.
Orders confirmed.
which of course will manage to do some damage. You know what, when you're attacking with groups like this, you just have to accept the losses, because
Unit lost.
trying to babysit every single individual unit just becomes a nightmare. So just show them at
Unit
the base
lost.
and see what you
Orders
they manage to do. Of course, getting rid of the rocket turrets also means that the interceptors have an easier time doing what they are doing,
Yes, Commander.
and they're not getting
Unit
shot down.
lost.
It helps a lot.
Orders confirmed.
Unit lost.
Orders confirmed.
Unit lost.
Yes, Commander.
Of course, the computer, being viewed as it is, decides to build, rebuild some of the base defenses behind me. So
Unit lost.
while I'm busy trying to give some structures, a cannon turret will pop up. Of course, this
Unit
rocket turret,
lost.
it seems to be a huge issue for my units to take down.
Unit lost.
Not going to get an awful lot done with this group, to be honest, but we cleared out some all-important
Unit
units, which is the main
Unit lost.
issue with these missions, is getting rid of units.
Let's go.
Unit lost.
Orders confirmed.
Something that I need to get used to, based on the experiences from this mission, is to control click when I attack structures, because if I do that, they will seem to attack at their maximum range instead of
Training.
trying to drive up right next to the building before they blow it up. When you have 5 or 6 siege tanks trying to hit the building at the same time, you are asking for
Unit lost.
a friendly thrashing that you don't need.
Orders confirmed.
Unit ready.
Anyway, this missile tank is
Training.
gone,
Orders confirmed.
Unit lost.
and let's see what an airstrike can do against the
Unit
refinery.
Training. Unit ready. Training.
And not an awful lot, it seems. Not enough to flatten one. Of course, it is being repaired at the same time. If it wasn't being repaired, it would probably have been a different story, but
Unit ready.
oh well. Time to
Orders. Yes, sir.
finish off this mess. Got I wouldn't say perfect choke point, but a decent choke point here. Basically just leaving my units to deal with whatever remains of the mobile units the Harkonnen has got. And sending in engineers to
Unit lost.
capture some buildings just to sell them. It was just basically capture and sell, capture and sell, capture and sell. I've mentioned it before, I'm not a fan of the engineer tactic,
Waiting orders.
but
Waiting orders.
anything to make this mission just a touch easier than it was.
Waiting
As you
orders.
probably gathered from the beginning of this video, I could have lost this mission
Enemy
many
building
times.
captured.
Grind block perhaps, but
Sold.
whatever works,
Enemy
I'm not
building
going to
captured. Our base is under
say no
attack.
to any gimmies.
Enemy building captured. Delivery in T-5. Our base is under attack. Structure sold. Structure sold.
Yes, sir.
Come on.
Unit lost.
Can capture them more.
T-4. Unit lost.
And of course,
Enemy
selling it
building
immediately.
Our base is under attack. T-minus.
So, finally pushing this part of the base. If you notice the fact that half the map is still undiscovered, you will probably realize that there's still quite a bit left to do. But I will be showcasing a certain amount of it and then cutting, because it's basically just blowing up buildings, losing units to friendly fire, blowing up more buildings, losing more units to friendly fire, the good old exciting stuff that you get in Dune 2000. One thing I will say is that I completely and utterly underestimated the power of the sonic tank. You will get to see it in action. It may well be that it's supposed to be against light units and infantry, but when you stack up a handful of them, because of they fire a cone of sound basically that travels, it will basically hit the same target, or specifically structures, multiple times when they fire, meaning that they are actually quite effective against most things instead of just light units. One-on-one, they're probably not great against tanks, but 5-on-1, 10-on-1, it definitely has given me the inspiration for what to produce extensively in the next mission. And of course, because we don't want them to be behind each other, because they will shoot through each other. And because of course it is a direct fire weapon, they will happily blow up each other. When you get the score rating at the end of the mission, I wonder how many of the units destroyed. Actually, from friendly fire.
Lost.
I would assume quite a few.
Unit ready. Building. Unit lost.
Of course, if they're moving around, they can't shoot, so it would be nice if they actually stop to shoot. But they,
Unit lost.
considering the fact they're outnumbered, they do some decent damage, but
Unit
it will only meant
lost.
as a distraction anyway, because we're going in to
Let's go. Let's go.
start punching on the last bit of the
Unit
enemy
ready.
structures.
Orders confirmed. Yes, Commander.
And again, it's going to be more blowing up buildings even, losing units to friendly fire. Well,
Orders confirmed.
Unit lost. Building.
of course, because of the damage the sonic tanks are doing. When they blow up a building, the sonic cones will kill infantry very, very quickly. So, in that regard, they are very, very powerful.
Commander. Let's go. Orders confirmed. Reporting.
So I think the lineup for my attack forces for the next mission will be a group of sonic tanks backed by missile tanks. I think I will try that. Then you will get to see in the next video whether it worked or not. But we're almost done here.
Unit lost.
Thankfully, that was a unpleasant experience.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Alright,
Mission complete.
because of units lost and structures lost, my score was actually lower on the previous mission, which is, I suppose.
The Harkonnen were forced further back.
Thanks for watching, take care, see you next time. Bye bye for now.